The Ijaw Youth Council has urged voters in Bayelsa State to sue for peace as they exercise their fundamental right to vote in the upcoming governorship election. The youth movement strongly discouraged any form of violence and called upon the youths to abstain from actions that could jeopardize the peace and integrity of the impending election and stressed that a fair and peaceful election is vital for the state's progress. Also, women have taken to the streets in Yenagoa, demanding the peaceful conduct of the governorship election in Bayelsa State on Saturday. The women marched from the Peace Park Pavilion to the Bayelsa State Police Command headquarters, where they were addressed by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Daniel Sokari Pedro. Arise News correspondent Theophilus Agidi completes the story.
Moving on the major Mbiama-Yenagoa Expressway, the wave of black attired protesters marched to the police headquarters in Yenagoa. They carried placards which expressed their concerns, chief amongst which was a call on the police to ensure the November 11 governorship election in the state is peaceful and credible.
Police, they control every election. As the police don't come, make them take care of any place peaceful. We don't want make our children. We know you say police don't shoot anybody. Children.
We don't want election violence. We don't want snatching of balance box. When the day comes November 11, everybody should come out and vote. Observe the vote, and whatever that comes as the result, we should accept that it is our fate.
Memories of political violence in Nembe Council area in 2019 and even recent disturbances are fresh in the mind of the women. They want the police authorities to ensure the neutrality of its men.
In that government, there were war in Ofom community and all over Bayelsa State. Our children died. Since our present governor we did not experience any form of riot. We are sleeping peacefully now, so we want it to continue. We need peace in our state. We want peace. We don't need any war. We need peace. We carry God in the beg on I beg. We need peace. We don't make our husband then die. We don't make our brother then die with our sister. I beg.
We have heard your complaint. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
You say you want a peaceful election. 2023 is not 2029.
Okay,
2023 is not 2015.
Yes, sir.
We are in a new year.
Yes.
We assure you there's going to be security by God's grace. And talk to your children, talk to your wards that we want peace. If you are peaceful, surely the outcome of the election will be peaceful. And we assure you of security.
Bayelsans are praying that the heavy presence of security personnel across the state and a peace pact by governorship candidates will translate into a rank of free polls. Theophilus Agidi, Arise News.
Joining us now from Yenagoa, Bayelsa State is Jonathan Lokpobiri, President, Ijaw Youth Council. Good morning, Jonathan Lokpobiri. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning. Well, the biggest fear ahead of the polls in Bayelsa tomorrow is that of violence, particularly in some places that have been identified: Basambiri, Ekremo, Brass, Southern Ijaw, and the IYC has called on the politicians to give peace a chance. And you have also called on the youths of Bayelsa not to be used as agents for perpetrating violence. How real is this threat of likely violence tomorrow in Bayelsa State?
Well, Doctor, I can tell you that the mood of our people clearly shows that they are willing to exercise their legitimate franchise to elect their next governor. And people are not prepared for violence, but you cannot undermine the mischief of politicians. So the threats are real, but the general mood of our people is prepared for rather a peaceful election wherein they would be able to elect the governor of their choice peacefully, without intimidation, without harassment, and without manipulation.
So I'd like to get your reaction. One of the deputy governorship candidates in this election out and out called for violence and said do or die affair. Mr. McIver, what would you say about that? And what, would you like to tell the political stakeholders as we go for those elections tomorrow?
Well, that for me was a rather very unfortunate and misguided utterances from the deputy governorship candidate of the APC. Elections, violence is obsolete. Violence has no place in either electoral process or in a democratic process. So the call for violence to kill people and all that is rather condemnable, and I do believe that that choice of words that came, was lack of control of emotions that perhaps may have created that scenario. But I do believe that the heavy presence of security and also the widespread condemnation of that call for violence may have also sent a wrong signal that that's not the route Bayelsans want to go. So I do believe that whatever intentions politicians may have, no politician can make himself. The people of Bayelsa have chosen a new path, a paradigm shift from the usual electoral violence that characterizes our electoral systems in Bayelsa. This time, as youth leaders and as key stakeholders who over the years have been involved in active election activities, now to a new path for peace. And therefore, whatever call for violence by any politician, not necessarily about the deputy governor of governorship candidate of the APC, but any other politician who are interested candidates in this election, whatever call for violence be ignored. The reason is you cannot love a people you want to govern and call for violence, maiming and killing of these same people. It's condemnable, and I do believe that violence has no place in this election. And a peaceful process where the credibility of the electoral system is also put into test. This is a rather one very crucial election because it's an off-cycle election. The entire nation and the world is watching Bayelsa just as we are watching the rest of Nigeria, Kogi, and then Imo State. So Bayelsa, as Ijaw people, there's no space for violence in this election. And that's where we stand. Okay,
I have a quick follow-up. We had a guest here yesterday, a governorship candidate of the Labour Party, that in one of, our interventions with him, we referred him to a case of violence when he was IYC president, the Ijaw Youth Council president. Some people had said some things that were not fit, and he didn't go that way. And he went to a radio station and caused violence. And on pressing him further, he further affirmed that with the beats, and that's the lot of the IYC, he said it's discipline. Do you people at the IYC, because you are the president, and I want you to clear this, is this the position of the IYC to use violence to be able to control errant members of the group or those that have said unworthy things about the president? Because we just needed to clear that. Is there a culture of violence in the IYC?
Doctor, without missing words, I can tell you for free that this struggle was built in a regimented way. But the individual leader, the actions of the leader, and the vision of the leader sometimes can define the movement. So in different eras, we have had different leaders. Some are a lot more prone to violent means of addressing their issues, while some others are a lot more non-violent. Like for me, I felt that if we are strong internally, we have a system to be able to defend ourselves against external aggression. But I cannot subscribe to the use of violence against my own people whom I'm meant to protect and defend. So the former president, my dear friend Udengs, said with a beat, yes, it's actually not completely out of what IYC is known for. If people hear, sometimes we use drastic punitive measures to discipline people. But attempts to glorify violence is not part of my style, and I don't intend using it, even though it's over the years been used to curb people's misbehaviors.
Okay, with a veto, that was what we had yesterday. It's good to hear a variation of it. But let me ask you, the Ijaw Youth Council, has your movement endorsed any of the governorship candidates? And who is your own preferred candidate?
In these governorship elections?
Yes.
Dr. Abati, it will be wrong of me to stand before the world and tell the world who my preferred candidates would be in this election. The council, being led by me, has a focus to provide leadership for all Ijaw youths, wherever they are in the world. Now, these people who are running this election are all Bayelsans. Whoever becomes the preferred choice through the ballot will be the governor of Bayelsa State. I have perhaps my individual preferences whom I will vote for, but that is only between myself and my God. So I cannot tell the world who the preferred candidate is of the IYC. But individuals in the IYC have a right to canvass votes for the preferred candidates. The clear reason is that virtually everybody who are in this race are Ijaw people. They are all Bayelsans, and it's not in my position as president of council to mislead the world or the public about who should be the preferred candidate. I will vote because I have a legitimate franchise to exercise that right. So I will vote for the candidate of my choice based on my deep convictions, but that is only up to me. It's not for the public.
Okay. Wait, I want to do. Okay, just before we leave that subject, I want to draw your attention to an advertorial yesterday, an open letter by Chief E.K. Clark, addressed to Chief Timipre Silva, APC gubernatorial candidate by Bayelsa State. And Chief E.K. Silva is saying here, election violence in Bayelsa State and your inordinate ambition to rule the state again. And his major point here is that he's opposed to Chief Timipre Silva being governor of Bayelsa State again because he accuses him of quite a number of things. I don't want to repeat that on television, but it's published at pages 25 to 26 of the Guardian newspaper of yesterday. What's your basic response to Chief E.K. Clark's position with regard to Chief Timipre Silva's ambition?
Well, with due respect to my father and leader of the Niger Delta, I cannot condemn him in public, but I would take a little departure from that approach. Governor Silva, as established by the court of law, now has a right to seek re-election as his fundamental human right. Yes, our father Clark has a right to differ with Chief Silva's ambitions, but I do not think calling him names on account of his quest for power, which is his legitimate right, in my opinion, might not be the best of way to go about this. But, you know, Clark has a way of being ramrod, straightforward, in whatever he feels that he needs the world to know. So if we had called Chief Silva names simply because he does not agree with his ambitions this time, I, as president of council, will slightly differ in such route. Every Bayelsans, in my opinion, as long as they have that legitimate right as established by the court of law recently in the case of Chief Timipri Silva, in my opinion, is a legitimate human right. Bayelsans will decide whether or not they still wish him to be their governor. It's not an individual's position to condemn him or to call for his disqualification, in my opinion.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to ask. Somebody would have thought that with pervasively, and somebody pointed this out yesterday, that Bayelsa State is only about the state that has a very spread level of homogeneity as regards, tribal outlook and the likes. That somebody would have thought that it should be more peaceful because of the level of homogeneity, and most of you guys are Ijaw out there. But that's not the case. At the peace accord signing, two top candidates went at each other, accusing each other of storing weapons and armory. We still have the case of Basambri and Oponembi going on. What would you say as regards all of this?
Well, like I said, peace accord is usually just a ceremony, most times rhetorical. And because I'm not a hypocrite, I don't rely solely on peace accords signed by people. Here you have politicians who will promise you of bread in the afternoon, and then in that same afternoon, they are offering you bitter cola. So when politicians make a promise, I check my time and I look at their unspoken actions, not the words they say. So in my opinion, that peace accord they signed is not enough for Bayelsans to rest in their oasis that, oh, the elections would be peaceful. Just yesterday, we have on record that there were some skirmishes, especially from the brass axis, where people were deeply injured on account of the movement of materials to the local government headquarters, which for me is an aberration. We should have had a departure from these old ways. Every Bayelsan has a right to life. No matter the ambitions of politicians, Bayelsans have a right to live beyond the electoral process. The election is just a one-day stuff. But we will forever live together as brothers and sisters at the table of brotherhood in this state. So attempts to either intimidate or kill people who differ with you in your ambition, in my opinion, needs to be curbed. Now, this also brings us to the question, what is the role of the security, especially with the heavy presence of all the security architecture of the country? We have the Navy, we have the Army, we have the police, we have the civil defense, we have the DSS. Virtually every arms of the security systems are present here. Yet we're having lapses where individuals are maimed and attacked at will. It's rather unfortunate, and I do think that security must not just be a duty of a game of rhetorics. Remember, a lot of monies, taxpayers' monies are paid out to bring in this security presence. And if they are here and their presence do not help, then their presence probably may not even be necessary. But I don't want to believe that this is how these elections would go.
Jonathan?
There are a lot of palpable fear. There are stories where arms have been stockpiled. True. As you saw the seeming fracas between candidates yesterday, there are clear indications that some people, instead of canvassing for votes, they have rather invested more in stockpiling arms. The question is, what are these arms meant for? Is it for hunting, or for killing Bayelsans simply because you feel they may not vote your preferred candidate is unacceptable, and we shall stand resolutely for nothing but a peaceful, credible, and transparent election.
Jonathan.
Also, the INEC, which is responsible for this election, can't be absolutely absolved. The reason is violence, in my opinion, is beyond just the physical violence we see.
Well, Jonathan,
violence, by my definition...
Jonathan.
Hello, sir.
Yes, well, we have to go, but I'm interested
Yes.
in where you are, that background. So much going on in the background.
Okay.
What is that location and what's going on there?
Now, as you can see, we are standing before the Swale waterfront. This is where most of the voters would be taking speedboats to their various local governments into the different interlands. Now, this is FMC waterside, where there's a jetty where a lot of transportation, water transport activities are going on. Virtually, the entire coastland is connected by this same river, where people are going to Southern Ijaw, people are going to Nimbe, people are going to Ogbea, and the rest of it. So, if we had started earlier, you would have seen a beehive of activities, how a lot of Bayelsans are leaving the state capital, going to different local governments, going to different wards and their communities to be able to exercise this franchise.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.